The illusion of freedom. Are you really in control? Block 1. The modern illusion of freedom. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that every decision you've ever made, every choice, every action, was never truly yours. You thought you were free, but in reality, invisible hands have been guiding you all along. Sounds like a dystopian nightmare, right? But what if I told you this is exactly the world we live in today? We like to believe we are in control of our own lives. We vote for our leaders. We choose what to buy, what to watch, and how to live. We are convinced that freedom is our fundamental right, that we are independent individuals making choices based on our desires. But what if all of this is just an illusion? What if our thoughts, actions, and even emotions are being manipulated in ways we can't even see? In the modern world, control doesn't come from chains or cages. It comes from information. It comes from shaping what you see, what you believe, and how you behave without you even realizing it. The most dangerous form of power is the one that doesn't feel like power at all. It feels like choice. The invisible forces that shape your decisions. To understand this, we need to dive into the concept of biopower, a term coined by philosopher Michel Foucault. Biopower isn't about forcing you to do something. It's about structuring the world in a way that makes you choose what the system wants you to choose. Think about your daily life. You wake up and check your phone. Your news feed is curated just for you. The algorithm knows what stories will make you angry, engaged, or distracted. You go outside, and cameras track your every movement, every purchase you make, every website you visit, and even your facial expressions in public spaces. Everything is data, and data is power. Governments and corporations don't need to control you through brute force anymore. They control you through persuasion, by crafting a world where you willingly comply without questioning. They don't have to ban books if they can simply make you uninterested in reading them. They don't have to take away your voice if they can just drown it out in an ocean of noise. The scariest part? This level of control is so deeply woven into our society that most people don't even notice it. Are your choices really your own? Now, let's talk about the illusion of choice. Every day, you're presented with thousands of options. What to watch, where to eat, what products to buy. But are these really your choices? Or have they already been chosen for you? Consider this. When you scroll through Netflix, the shows recommended to you aren't random. They are calculated selections, designed to maximize your engagement based on your past behavior. The same goes for YouTube, Amazon, and even your social media feed. You think you're choosing, but in reality, your preferences are being shaped without your awareness. And it doesn't stop with entertainment. Politics, social movements, even your beliefs about the world, these too are being curated and filtered through invisible algorithms. The media you consume frames your worldview, dictating what stories you see, what perspectives you hear, and what ideas you accept as truth. So ask yourself, when was the last time you had a thought that wasn't influenced by something you saw online? If you struggle to answer, you might not be as free as you think. The trap of a controlled society. The greatest trick of modern control is making you believe you are free while keeping you in a system designed to shape your every move. We are not shackled in chains, but we are bound by invisible threads. Algorithms, social pressures, economic systems, and surveillance technologies, all working together to ensure compliance without force. This isn't about conspiracy theories. It's about how power functions in the modern world. It's about how a system can condition you into self-regulating your thoughts and behaviors. You don't need a dictator if you willingly police yourself. You don't need a prison if you never try to escape. So, the question remains, how much of your life is truly yours? Or are you just another piece in a system that has already decided who you are, what you want, and what you will become? The illusion of freedom is the most dangerous trap of all, and until you recognize it, you will never be truly free. The panopticon, a prison. where the guard is always watching, the prison without walls. Imagine a prison where there are no bars, no locked doors, and no guards patrolling the hallways. Yet, the prisoners inside never attempt to escape. Why? Because they believe they are always being watched. This is the terrifying genius behind the panopticon, a concept designed in the 18th century by philosopher Jeremy Bentham. It was a revolutionary prison structure, circular in design, with a watchtower in the center. From this tower, a single guard could observe every inmate. But here's the trick. The prisoners could never tell if they were actually being watched at any given moment. The possibility of surveillance was enough to make them police themselves. Michel Foucault, one of the most influential philosophers of the modern era, took this idea and expanded it. He argued that the panopticon wasn't just a prison design, it was a model for power in society. Schools, workplaces, hospitals, even cities have adopted this principle. Create a structure where people believe they are being watched, and they will regulate themselves. No chains necessary, no brute force required. Now look around you. The modern world is built on this invisible architecture of control. And the worst part? Most of us don't even realize it. How the panopticon became the blueprint for society. Foucault's insight was chilling. Society has taken the logic of the panopticon and applied it everywhere. You experience it at work, where every email, every keystroke, every second of inactivity is tracked. You experience it in school, where students are monitored, graded, and conditioned to obey authority. And you experience it in public, where surveillance cameras, security checks, and digital tracking create an environment where you're never truly alone. But the most powerful panopticon of all, the internet. Every website you visit, every search you make, every click, like, and comment, it's all recorded. You don't need a prison guard when an algorithm can do the job. And just like the prisoners in Bentham's design, we have adapted. We modify our behavior because we assume we're being watched. We self-censor. We hesitate before expressing certain opinions. We think twice before searching for something that might flag us in a system we don't even understand. And just like that, the panopticon has evolved. It's no longer made of concrete walls and watchtowers. It's digital, it's invisible, and it's everywhere. The psychological effects of constant surveillance. What happens when people live under perpetual observation? They become obedient, anxious, and fearful. The panopticon doesn't need to punish you. It makes you punish yourself. Psychologists have studied the effects of constant surveillance, and the results are disturbing. When people believe they are being watched, they behave differently. They conform more, they take fewer risks, and they avoid controversial topics. Over time, this creates a culture of self-censorship and compliance, where people internalize the rules of the system without ever questioning them. This is why authoritarian governments invest heavily in surveillance technology. It's not about catching every dissident, it's about making everyone feel like a potential target. If people believe they are constantly being observed, they will preemptively obey. They will silence themselves before someone else does it for them. This is how modern power works. It doesn't need brute force. It shapes your mind until you become your own warden. Living in the modern panopticon. Think about your daily life. Your phone listens to you. Your apps track your location. Your smart devices record your conversations. Your digital footprint is so vast that corporations know you better than your own family does. We have willingly placed ourselves inside the modern panopticon. And the worst part? We accept it as normal. Surveillance cameras line every street, facial recognition scans our faces at airports, and online algorithms predict our every move. But instead of questioning it, we have normalized it. We tell ourselves, I have nothing to hide, so why should I care? This is just the price of security and convenience. If it keeps us safe, isn't it a good thing? But that's exactly how control works. It doesn't feel like oppression. It feels necessary. It feels like progress. The prisoners in Bentham's panopticon never tried to escape because they had accepted the system as reality. Are we doing the same? Have we become so accustomed to surveillance that we no longer recognize it as a form of control? The panopticon never disappeared. It just became more advanced. And today, we are all living inside it. The new panopticon, the internet as the ultimate surveillance system. Imagine a world where every step you take, every word you type, every purchase you make, and even every fleeting thought is recorded, analyzed, and stored. Now stop imagining, because that world is already here. The internet was once hailed as the great equalizer, a place where knowledge was free, where people could communicate without barriers, where privacy was still a fundamental right. But that ideal has long faded. Today, the internet has become the most efficient surveillance system ever created. Think about it. Every time you use a search engine, you leave a digital trace. Every time you like a post, watch a video, or even pause on a certain image, that data is logged. Social media platforms, online retailers, governments, and intelligence agencies, they all collect, analyze, and use this information to track your behavior, predict your decisions, and influence your actions. And the worst part? You don't even have to be online to be watched. Your smartphone tracks your location. Your smart TV listens to your conversations. Even your home assistant devices, Alexa, Google Home, Siri, are constantly eavesdropping, waiting for a command, but capturing far more than you realize. This is no longer a conspiracy theory. This is the modern reality. You are being watched at all times. The question is, how much control do you actually have over your own digital life? The hidden forces tracking your every move. When people think of surveillance, they often imagine secret government agencies spying on them through cameras. But the real power of modern surveillance doesn't come from a single all-seeing entity. It comes from the invisible network of corporations, governments, and AI-driven systems that track and predict your every move. Your smartphone is a surveillance device. It tracks your GPS location, monitors your movement patterns, and even predicts where you're going next. Cookies and metadata follow you across the web, logging your browsing history, purchases, and interests. Facial recognition technology scans you in public places, whether at airports, stores, or even on city streets. AI algorithms track your emotions, analyzing everything from the tone of your voice to the way you interact with content online. The level of detail collected is staggering. Your shopping habits, your political opinions, your mental health, your fears, your desires, all of it is being recorded and used to shape your reality. This is the new panopticon, and it's far more powerful than Bentham or Foucault ever imagined. You don't need a guard in a tower anymore. You don't need a physical prison. All you need is a world where people know they're being watched, yet still believe they are free. The death of privacy. Is it too late? In the past, surveillance required effort. Governments had to wiretap phones, physically follow suspects, or rely on informants. But today, surveillance is automatic. It doesn't require manpower. It only requires data, and people willingly give it away every single day. We trade our privacy for convenience. We install smart home devices that listen to us 24/7. We allow apps to access our cameras, our microphones, and even our health data without questioning it. We accept terms and conditions without reading them, unknowingly signing away our right to digital anonymity. But is privacy truly dead? Have we reached the point of no return? Some argue that it's already too late. Governments and corporations have built an infrastructure so vast, so deeply integrated into our daily lives, that escaping it is nearly impossible. The moment you go online, you are part of the system. Your data is already stored, already analyzed, already being used to influence your future actions. Others believe there's still hope. There are privacy tools, encryption methods, and alternative platforms that fight against mass surveillance. But the real challenge isn't just technology, it's awareness. Because most people don't even realize the extent to which their lives are being monitored. So ask yourself, do you know who's watching you right now? Living in a world without digital anonymity. If the 20th century was the age of industrialization, the 21st century is the age of data colonization. The world's most valuable resource is no longer oil or gold, it's information, and you are the product. Every interaction you have online contributes to your digital identity, a profile that corporations and governments use to understand, manipulate, and control you. From your personal relationships to your deepest insecurities, your data tells a story about you, and someone, somewhere, is profiting from it. So what does the future look like? A world where predictive AI knows what you'll do before you do it? A society where surveillance is no longer hidden but openly embraced as normal? A reality where privacy is a luxury only the rich and powerful can afford? We are living in the most monitored era in human history. Every message sent, every step taken, every purchase made is tracked and stored forever. The panopticon has gone digital, and there is nowhere left to hide. The only question is, will we fight for our digital freedom, or will we accept this as our new reality? Social media. You are the product, not the user. The illusion of connection. Social media promised us a new world, one where we could connect with anyone, anywhere, at any time. A world where distance no longer mattered, where ideas flowed freely, and where every voice could be heard. But behind this illusion of connection lies something far more sinister. We are not the users of social media. We are the product being sold. Think about it. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter don't charge you money to use their services. That's because you are not their customer. Advertisers are. The real currency of social media isn't likes, shares, or followers. It's data. Every time you scroll, pause on a video, like a post, or comment on a thread, you are feeding an algorithm. Your preferences, habits, fears, and desires are all logged and analyzed. The platform learns what makes you tick, what keeps you engaged, what sparks your emotions, what makes you stay just a little longer. Because the longer you stay, the more ads you see. And the more ads you see, the more money they make. Social media isn't designed to serve you. It's designed to exploit you. How algorithms control your reality. You might think that you have full control over what you see on your social media feeds. But in reality, every post, every video, and every recommendation is carefully curated by an AI-driven algorithm designed to maximize your engagement. These algorithms are not neutral. They prioritize content that triggers strong emotional responses: anger, outrage, envy, and desire. They show you what will keep you scrolling, not what will make you think critically. Why do you suddenly see ads for something you just talked about with a friend? Because your phone is always listening. Why do political debates on social media feel so toxic and extreme? Because algorithms push the most divisive content to keep people engaged. Why do people become addicted to platforms like TikTok and Instagram? Because the infinite scroll is designed to hijack your brain's dopamine system. These platforms don't just reflect reality, they shape it. They create echo chambers, where you only see content that reinforces your existing beliefs. They manipulate your emotions, making you feel inadequate, outraged, or addicted to validation. And most people don't even realize it's happening. Social media isn't just watching you, it's controlling you. The mental health crisis caused by social media. The more time people spend on social media, the more they compare their lives to carefully curated, highly edited, and often completely fake portrayals of reality. The result? A mental health crisis. Anxiety and depression. Studies have shown that excessive social media use is linked to higher rates of anxiety and depression, especially among teenagers. Body dysmorphia. Unrealistic beauty standards created by filters and photo editing have led to a surge in eating disorders and body image issues. Addiction. Dopamine-driven feedback loops make people physically addicted to social media, much like gambling or drug use. But it's not just about mental health. Social media is designed to make you feel like you're never enough. Never rich enough, never attractive enough, never successful enough, because the more insecure you feel, the more time you'll spend scrolling, consuming, and buying. Social media doesn't just make you miserable, it profits from your misery. Can we escape the social media trap? The harsh truth is that social media has become so integrated into our daily lives that escaping it completely is nearly impossible. But that doesn't mean we have to be slaves to it. Take control of your feed. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Follow people who provide real value, not just empty entertainment. Limit your usage. Set time limits on your social media apps. The less time you spend on these platforms, the less power they have over you. Be aware of the manipulation. The more you understand how social media exploits you, the less control it has over your emotions and behavior. At the end of the day, social media is not inherently good or evil. It's a tool, but like any tool, it can be used to build or to destroy. The question is, are you using social media or is social media using you? The cult of self-optimization. Why you're never enough. The endless pursuit of perfection. Wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, work out, read 50 pages, eat clean, hustle, be productive, track your progress, improve, optimize, repeat. Modern society has convinced us that we are projects in constant need of improvement. The message is clear: you are never enough as you are. There is always another skill to master, another habit to perfect, another way to squeeze more productivity out of your day. And if you're not optimizing, you're failing. Self-improvement used to be about growth and learning, but today it has transformed into an obsessive, never-ending rat race. Everywhere you look, you see motivational content telling you that success is just one more habit away, one more course, one more morning routine, one more optimization. But here's the truth. This system is designed to keep you feeling inadequate. It thrives on the idea that you are always falling short, that you always need to be doing more, and the more you chase perfection, the further away it seems. The dark side of hustle culture. Hustle culture glorifies working harder, longer, and faster. But at what cost? It tells you that rest is for the weak, that if you're not making money in your sleep, you're wasting time, that every second of your life must be monetized, optimized, and turned into a productivity hack. Work 14-hour days and call it grind mode. Sacrifice your health, relationships, and mental well-being in the name of success. Burn out, just push through. Sleep when you're dead. This mentality has turned people into machines, constantly chasing an unattainable version of themselves. And the worst part? The goalposts are always moving. The moment you reach one milestone, the next one appears. More money, more status, more efficiency. It's a game you can never win. And who benefits from this endless pursuit? Corporations, employers, influencers who sell the illusion of success. The entire system is designed to make you feel like you're never working hard enough, so that you'll keep buying, consuming, and chasing a dream that was never meant to be caught. The anxiety of measuring. Every aspect of life. We now live in a world where everything is tracked, measured, and optimized. Your steps, your sleep, your diet, your screen time, your productivity, even your happiness. Apps tell you if you're sleeping correctly. Fitness trackers make you feel guilty for missing a workout. Productivity tools push you to squeeze every second out of your day. This constant measurement creates paralysis. Instead of living, people spend their time analyzing how well they are living. Instead of enjoying the moment, they worry about whether they are maximizing it. And the irony? The more we optimize our lives, the more stressed and exhausted we become. We turn our personal growth into a performance. We turn self-care into another task on our to-do list. And we forget how to simply exist without feeling the need to improve. This isn't self-optimization, it's self-exploitation. Breaking free from the optimization trap. So how do we escape this endless cycle? How do we stop feeling like we are never enough? Redefine success. Instead of chasing someone else's idea of achievement, ask yourself, what actually makes me happy? Embrace imperfection. Growth is important, but so is rest. So is joy. So is being okay with where you are right now. Disconnect from toxic productivity. You don't need to track every moment of your life. You don't need to optimize everything. Some things are meant to be enjoyed, not measured. Remember, you are enough. The self-help industry, hustle culture, and corporate world will never tell you this, but you don't have to constantly improve. You are already enough as you are. At the end of the day, the cult of self-optimization wants you to believe that happiness is always just out of reach, that if you just do more, work harder, and optimize better, you will finally feel fulfilled. But maybe the real secret is this: happiness isn't found in constant self-improvement. It's found in learning to accept yourself, flaws and all. The loneliness epidemic. Why we are more connected yet more isolated. The paradox of modern connection. Never in human history have we been more connected. With a single tap, we can send messages across the world, see loved ones through a screen, and share our thoughts with millions. Social media, instant messaging, and virtual spaces have erased borders and shattered distance. And yet, despite all of this, we have never felt more alone. How is this possible? How can a world overflowing with connection leave us feeling so disconnected? The answer lies in the illusion of digital intimacy. While technology has made communication easier, it has also stripped it of its depth. Conversations are now reduced to emojis and typing indicators. Friendships are measured in likes and retweets. We interact with screens more than with people. The result? A loneliness epidemic. Studies show that feelings of isolation have skyrocketed, especially among younger generations. More people than ever report having no close friends. Depression and anxiety are at all-time highs. Social media was supposed to bring us together, but instead, it has left us feeling unseen, unheard, and deeply alone. Why digital interactions feel hollow. Humans are wired for real face-to-face connection. We need body language, eye contact, and physical presence to build meaningful relationships. But modern communication strips away all of that. A text message lacks tone, making it easy to misinterpret. A heart emoji is not the same as a warm hug. A video call can't fully replace the depth of being in the same room with someone. Even worse, online interactions often feel performative. Social media forces us to craft a perfect image, to be seen rather than to be known. Instead of forming real connections, we chase validation through likes, comments, and follower counts. But these digital affirmations are shallow and fleeting. They might provide a momentary dopamine rush, but they don't fill the void of true companionship. So while we spend hours engaging with others online, we are starving for real human connection. The death of deep friendships. Friendship has changed. In the past, friendships were built through shared experiences, trust, and long-term investment. Today, they are often superficial, transactional, and easily disposable. Less time together. With the rise of remote work and digital entertainment, people see their friends less. Casual, unplanned interactions, like running into someone at a coffee shop, are disappearing. More social anxiety. The more time people spend online, the harder it becomes to navigate real-life social situations. The ghosting culture. Friendships are now treated like subscriptions, canceled when they no longer serve an immediate purpose. People have replaced real friendships with online interactions, but the two are not the same. We might have thousands of followers, but how many of them truly know us? Who would actually show up when we need them most? This shift has left many people feeling like they are surrounded by others, yet completely alone. How to reclaim real connection. The loneliness epidemic is not just a personal crisis, it's a societal one. But there are ways to break free from digital isolation and rebuild real, meaningful relationships. Prioritize in-person interactions. Make the effort to meet people face to face, even if it feels inconvenient. Nothing replaces real human presence. Limit shallow digital engagement. Reduce time spent on social media and focus on quality over quantity when it comes to friendships. Practice deep conversations. Move beyond small talk. Ask people real questions. Be vulnerable. Listen without distractions. Create community. Join clubs, attend local events, or find hobbies that bring people together in the real world. Technology is not the enemy, but replacing real connection with digital interactions is dangerous. If we want to escape the loneliness epidemic, we need to remember that true connection isn't built through screens. It's built through presence, trust, and shared moments that no algorithm can replicate. How society forces you to be happy. The pressure to always be positive. Just think positive. Everything happens for a reason. Good vibes only. These phrases might sound uplifting, but they reveal a toxic reality. In today's world, negativity is not allowed. No matter what you're going through, stress, grief, burnout, you are expected to smile, stay grateful, and look on the bright side. Society has turned happiness into an obligation, making it seem like any emotion other than joy is a sign of failure. This is toxic positivity. The belief that no matter how difficult life gets, we must ignore negative emotions and stay optimistic at all costs. But forcing happiness isn't real happiness. It's a mask, a way to suppress real emotions instead of dealing with them. And the more we pretend to be happy, the more miserable we actually become. True emotional well-being doesn't come from denying pain. It comes from acknowledging it. But modern society doesn't want you to process your emotions. It just wants you to keep functioning, keep working, and keep consuming. How toxic positivity silences. Real struggles. Toxic positivity teaches us that negative emotions are not welcome. When someone expresses sadness, frustration, or anxiety, they are often met with dismissive responses. Just be grateful for what you have. Other people have it worse. You're being too negative. Instead of support, people receive forced optimism, making them feel guilty for their emotions. This is especially harmful for those struggling with mental health issues. Depression, anxiety, and trauma cannot be cured by simply thinking positive thoughts. But toxic positivity tells people that if they're still unhappy, it's their own fault, because they're not choosing happiness. This creates a culture where people are afraid to be honest about their struggles. They bottle up emotions, pretend they're fine, and suffer in silence. And when pain is ignored, it doesn't disappear. It grows, turning into deeper emotional wounds that are even harder to heal. The hidden agenda behind forced happiness. Why does society push toxic positivity so aggressively? The answer is simple: control and profit. Workplace productivity. Companies don't want employees who acknowledge burnout or dissatisfaction. They want workers who stay motivated, no matter how exhausted they are. Toxic positivity is a tool to keep people overworking without questioning the system. Consumerism. The happiness industry is worth billions. Self-help books, wellness products, and motivational content all sell the idea that happiness is something you can buy, if only you purchase the right products. Social media and branding. Influencers and businesses promote unrealistic positivity because it's more marketable. A perfect, happy image sells better than authenticity. In short, toxic positivity isn't about helping people. It's about manipulating them. It keeps people compliant, distracted, and constantly searching for external solutions to internal problems. Embracing real emotional balance. True happiness doesn't come from suppressing negative emotions. It comes from allowing yourself to feel everything, both good and bad. Instead of toxic positivity, we need emotional honesty. Accept all emotions: sadness, anger, frustration. They are all natural and necessary. You don't need to apologize for feeling them. Stop forcing happiness. Some days are hard, and that's okay. You don't have to pretend everything is fine when it isn't. Create space for real conversations. Instead of dismissing struggles with "just think positive," practice real empathy. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for someone is just listen. Redefine happiness. Instead of chasing constant positivity, focus on meaning, growth, and emotional depth. Real happiness is not about being positive all the time. It's about being authentic and emotionally free. Society might tell you to smile no matter what, but true well-being is found in something much deeper: the ability to feel everything, without shame, without guilt, and without pretending. The exploitation of the self. Are you your own prison guard? How we became our own oppressors. There was a time when control was obvious. Authority figures, bosses, governments, rulers would openly enforce rules, keeping people in check. But modern power doesn't work that way anymore. Today, the most effective form of control is when people police themselves, when they willingly conform, discipline, and exploit their own existence without even realizing it. You are no longer just a worker. You are your own manager, marketer, and enforcer. You pressure yourself to be productive, to optimize every second, to constantly improve. There's no dictator forcing you to work 12-hour days, yet you feel guilty for resting. There's no external force demanding that you stay available 24/7, yet you check emails at midnight. This is the modern trap. You are both the worker and the boss, the prisoner and the guard. And the scariest part? You don't even need to be forced into it. You do it willingly. The rise of the self-managed individual. How did we end up in a system where people exploit themselves? The answer lies in the shift from external discipline to internalized control. The gig economy and hustle culture. Work is no longer confined to offices or shifts. You are expected to always be on, constantly selling yourself, always grinding. But instead of feeling exploited, many see this as freedom or opportunity, personal branding and social capital. Your identity is now a product. Every action, every post, every achievement is curated and marketed. You don't just exist, you must constantly prove your worth to an invisible audience. Self-optimization and productivity. Obsession. Resting is no longer rest. It's recharging for more work. Hobbies must be monetized. Sleep is tracked. Everything becomes part of a performance of efficiency. In the past, people worked to survive. Now, people work to justify their own existence, and the system doesn't even have to force them. They do it themselves. Why we willingly accept this control? If this system is so oppressive, why don't we resist? Because we don't see it as oppression. We see it as self-improvement. The greatest trick of modern power is that it disguises control as empowerment. You're in charge of your success. Sounds inspiring, but it really means if you fail, it's your fault. You just need to work harder. The system never changes. You just have to adapt. You control your own destiny. But only if you never stop grinding. By making success feel personal, the system removes blame from itself. If someone struggles, they aren't a victim of unfair conditions. They're simply not trying hard enough. This keeps people from questioning the system because they believe that if they just work a little harder, they'll finally be free. But the truth is, you cannot optimize your way out of exploitation. How to escape the trap of self-exploitation. Breaking free from this cycle doesn't mean rejecting ambition or success. It means reclaiming your humanity from a system that wants you to be a machine. Reclaim your time. Your life is not a productivity metric. Learn to rest without guilt. Detach identity from work. You are more than your achievements, your job, or your online presence. Reject the pressure to monetize everything. Not every passion needs to be profitable. Some things should exist simply for joy, not efficiency. Recognize when freedom is actually control. Be wary of narratives that push self-exploitation under the disguise of self-improvement. The system thrives when you police yourself. True liberation begins when you stop being your own prison guard. Escaping the narcissistic trap. Is there a way out? Why it's so hard to break free. Escaping the narcissistic trap isn't just about deleting social media or ignoring self-help gurus. It's about rewiring the way we see ourselves and the world. The problem isn't just external, it's deeply internalized. For years, we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our visibility. We are not just people, we are brands, profiles, and performances. Every action feels like it must be justified, optimized, or validated. Even our most private moments are shaped by an audience that may not even exist. The hardest part of escaping is accepting how deeply we've been trapped. It means facing the uncomfortable truth. We have willingly played this game. We have participated in our own surveillance, self-exploitation, and narcissistic conditioning. And now, we must unlearn it. But where do we even begin? Redefining identity beyond performance. One of the biggest obstacles to escaping the narcissistic era is that we don't know who we are without it. If we strip away the social media presence, the productivity obsession, the validation seeking, what's left? Stop curating, start experiencing. Do something without sharing it. Take a walk without tracking steps. Read a book without summarizing it for others. Experience life for yourself, not an audience. Detach from constant self-evaluation. You don't need to be the best, the most interesting, or the most optimized version of yourself. Let go of the need to constantly measure your value. Embrace boredom and stillness. In a world addicted to stimulation, silence is rebellion. Spend time alone. Be present. Resist the urge to always be doing something. You are not a product. You are not a performance. You exist outside of how others perceive you. But to truly believe that, you must break the habit of seeing yourself through their eyes. Resisting the traps that pull you back. Even when you start to break free, society will try to pull you back in. The narcissistic era survives by keeping people engaged, anxious, and seeking validation. The moment you step away, you become a threat to the system. The fear of missing out, FOMO. If you're not posting, are you still relevant? If you're not optimizing, are you falling behind? These thoughts aren't real, they're manufactured fears to keep you plugged in. The need for external validation. If no one sees your success, does it still count? If you achieve something but don't announce it, is it real? The answer is yes, but the system has trained us to believe otherwise. The comfort of the familiar. Living outside the narcissistic trap feels lonely at first. You'll feel disconnected. But real connection is not found in an algorithm. It's found in genuine offline interactions. Escaping is not about perfection. You will slip back. You will feel the pull of old habits. The key is to notice it, acknowledge it, and step away again. Building a future beyond the narcissistic age. Can we, as a society, move past this era? Or is narcissism too deeply embedded in our culture? The truth is, large-scale change starts with individual choices, and those choices create a ripple effect. Encourage real conversations. Instead of shallow interactions, engage in deep, meaningful discussions. Be present. Listen without waiting for your turn to speak. Prioritize relationships over reputation. Choose real friendships over networking. Choose depth over reach. Choose community over audience. Redefine success. Instead of external achievements, define success by inner fulfillment. Are you at peace? Are you growing? Are you content, even without applause? The era of narcissism will not end overnight. But every person who chooses authenticity over performance, presence over validation, depth over attention, weakens its hold on the world. The real revolution begins when you stop playing the game. The future of society. Can we overcome this era of narcissism? Are we doomed to stay trapped? It's easy to believe that narcissism is now an unavoidable part of human nature, that we have crossed a point of no return. With technology evolving at a rapid pace and social validation becoming more ingrained in our daily lives, is it even possible to reverse course? The truth is, society isn't static. It evolves. Just as we transitioned from industrialism to the digital age, we can also move beyond this era of hyper-narcissism. But change won't happen naturally. It requires deliberate action, both individually and collectively. We have to ask, what kind of future do we want? Do we want a world where every interaction is a performance, where self-worth is dictated by algorithms, and where our deepest thoughts are shaped by what's trending? Or do we want something different? Something real? History shows that no cultural era lasts forever. The question is, will we actively shape the next one, or be shaped by it? The role of technology in our future technology is often blamed for modern narcissism. But is the problem really the tools or how we use them? AI and personalization. As artificial intelligence advances, it will become even better at feeding us exactly what we want to see, trapping us in hyper-curated realities. Can we develop AI that encourages genuine discovery instead of reinforcing echo chambers? The future of social media. Will platforms double down on engagement at all costs, or will new models emerge that promote deeper connections over shallow validation? Can a social network exist that doesn't exploit our need for attention? The rise of digital detox movements. More people are questioning the impact of constant digital exposure. Movements advocating for offline time, real-world experiences, and mental clarity are gaining momentum. Could this be the start of a cultural shift? Technology itself isn't the enemy. The real battle is who controls it and how we choose to interact with it. Rebuilding society on authenticity and meaning. If the future is to be different, we need a new cultural foundation, one that prioritizes authenticity over performance, depth over visibility, and meaning over metrics. The return of privacy and personal space. People are already pushing back against surveillance culture and excessive digital exposure. Could privacy become the new luxury? Redefining success and identity. Imagine a world where success is measured not by likes and views, but by knowledge, purpose, and emotional depth. Where we are seen for who we are, not for how well we perform. The power of real-world communities. The internet connects us, but it also isolates us. The future may belong to local, in-person communities where relationships are built on presence, not profiles. To escape the narcissistic trap, we don't need small tweaks. We need a complete reimagining of how we define ourselves and connect with others. The choice we all have to make. So, can we overcome the era of narcissism? Yes, but only if we actively choose to. The future won't be shaped by governments, corporations, or tech giants alone. It will be shaped by us, by the way we interact, consume, and define meaning in our own lives. Will you continue to measure your worth by external validation, or will you reclaim your sense of self? Will you let technology dictate your thoughts, or will you use it consciously and intentionally? Will you remain part of the performance, or will you choose something deeper, something real? The next era is unwritten. The real question is, who will we become?